In my early 20s, when I got my first steady income, I made a lot of careless financial decisions. Honestly, I became overly confident. My biggest mistake was choosing to lease an expensive car instead of a modest one. I was still living with my parents, so to earn some extra cash, I picked up side gigs. One such job was looking after my friend Dom's dog, Willard. Dom often had to travel for work on weekends, and since he had no family around, he hired me to care for his dog. I had been doing this for almost 6 months and, truthfully, I enjoyed taking care of Willard. He was a golden retriever, gentle and calm. Dom's neighborhood was quiet and felt safe. Like most evenings, I was playing with the dog around dusk. I didn't take him for a walk that night. Around 9 p.m., I headed back home. Normally, I'd be asleep by 10 p.m., but that night, I was watching Inception, which ended around 11. After the movie, I let Willard out into the yard and started preparing for bed. I never liked sleeping in Dom's bedroom, it felt strange, so I made myself comfortable on the living room couch. Just as I lay down, the doorbell rang. It was around 11:01 p.m. At first, I assumed it might be one of Dom's relatives. After all, who rings a doorbell that late at night? I went to the door and saw a guy standing outside. He looked about my age, dressed neatly, and didn't seem threatening at first glance. I opened the main door but kept the screen door locked. I asked, "Yeah, what's up?" He replied confidently, "Hey bro, I've got your food delivery." Now, this was back in the days before Zomato and Swiggy apps. Ordering food meant calling directly and paying cash. I told him he had the wrong house. I hadn't ordered anything. We chatted for a few moments before he realized his mistake, apologized, and I relaxed. But just then, I noticed something odd. There were 3 more people sitting in his car. That struck me as strange. Delivery drivers usually work alone. I brushed it off, closed the door, and went back inside. 2 minutes later, the doorbell rang again, this time frantically. I peeked through the window and saw the same guy, now looking a little tense. I asked what was going on. He said, "Bro, I accidentally hit your car. I think there's some damage." Before I could say anything, he lowered his head and added, "You should come take a look." Annoyed and still half asleep, I stepped outside without thinking much. As I walked toward my car, I realized something chilling. His vehicle, which had earlier been full, was now empty. That's when I felt something wasn't right. I quickly said, "Hang on, I'll grab my shoes," and turned back toward the house. Just then, I noticed 2 figures emerging from the bushes nearby. My heart pounded. I bolted toward the front door. One of them lunged at me, but thankfully he was just a bit too far. I slammed the door shut behind me and locked it. They started pounding on the door. One of them had a tiger tattoo on his neck. I still remember it vividly. I immediately called the police and explained everything. When they arrived, I gave full descriptions of all 4 guys. Unfortunately, they were never caught. To this day, I don't know why they targeted me, or what they truly intended. but the thought of that night still sends shivers down my spine. Today, we're lucky to live in a time when we can order almost any meal online, from pizza to chicken sandwiches. On the flip side, being a delivery driver can be a flexible way to earn extra money. As a single mom, any extra income is welcome. A few weeks ago, I was making deliveries in a nice suburban neighborhood, the kind you'd see in Disney Channel shows. Clean lawns, white fences, picture-perfect homes. Like with every order, I had to place the food on the porch and snap a photo as proof, for insurance purposes in case it got stolen. I placed the food neatly, stepped back, took the picture, and started walking back to my car. Out of nowhere, a furious woman burst out from the house across the street. She screamed at me, accusing me of trespassing on private property. I tried to explain I was just delivering food and had taken a photo, but she wasn't listening. Every time I spoke, she grew angrier. I decided it was better to leave than argue. As I got into my car, she started pounding on the hood. I panicked and got out to check for damage. She silently turned and walked back into her house. That night rattled me. I ended my shift early and went home to spend time with my daughter. We had dinner, played some games, and watched a movie together. After she fell asleep, I was watching my favorite show around midnight when I heard someone banging violently at my door. I peeked through the window. It was the same woman. How did she find out where I lived? That thought alone sent chills down my spine. I didn't open the door, just watched her silently. She bent down and picked up a rock from the garden, hiding it behind her back. Then she started pounding again, this time more aggressively. I shouted, "I've called the police." She froze, tossed the rock aside, and ran. I did call the cops and explained everything, but she was gone by the time they arrived. They searched the area but didn't find much. I hoped it was the end of it. But then, things got even weirder. A week later, I saw her again, at the grocery store. She didn't say anything, just stared. After that, I noticed her near my car a couple of times. Nothing happened, but it unnerved me. I talked to a friend whose husband is a police officer. She said maybe I was overthinking things. Now that I was aware of her, maybe I was just noticing her more. But one day, while I was outside pulling weeds in the yard, I looked up, and there she was. Standing right in front of me. She bent down, picked up another rock, and in a cold, low voice said, "You're a monster who calls the police. You trespassed on my land." Panic hit me like a wave. I dropped everything and ran inside, locking the door. I called the police again. This time, they caught her. Turned out, she had a history of mental illness and prior incidents. I don't know what happened to her after that, but I saw her last being driven away in the back of a squad car. I just hope she gets the help she needs, so I never have to see her face again. It was a completely normal evening. My aunt had left town for a few weeks and trusted me to take care of her house. I'm not the party type. My routine is simple: work, eat, clean, sleep. But that night, I decided to relax a bit and ordered a pizza. I had no idea such a simple act would take such a dark turn. The delivery guy arrived shortly after. When I went to the door, he seemed off. I didn't think much of it at first, just signed and reached for the pizza. Then he started asking weird questions. How old are you? Are you home alone? I've dealt with creepy people since I was young. I just smiled and said, "Have a good night," then turned back toward the house. But then he said something that chilled me to the bone. "By the way, you look good in your work uniform." I forced a smile, shut the door quickly, and took a deep breath. I felt anxious all night but tried to brush it off. I figured it was over. A week later, I saw him again. He was lingering near my workplace, watching. A wave of dread hit me. I tried to leave quickly, but he followed me. I ducked into a nearby gas station where the manager knew me. I told him everything, and he confronted the guy. But what he said in response made my blood run cold. "Don't worry," the man said with a smile. "I'll be leaving her alone soon." Since then, nothing's happened. But that smile, and those final words, haunt me. Every time I step outside, I stay alert. I don't know what he meant by soon, but I hope I'm ready for whatever may come.